Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 6th of December, 2022. Coming up the Krusty Canuck podcast, episode 196. Billions wasted for your safety or someone else's pocket. Yes, the Auditor General of Canada has brought to terms that billions upon billions were wasted over the pandemic, people receiving funds that didn't really need it. All that and more come up in the show. Please stick around. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. I tend to swear and smoke cigarettes. Cheers.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Krusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Billions wasted for your safety or someone else's pocket. Yes, the Auditor General has said today in the mainstream media that a lot of money, gone missing. Roughly $27 billion. Sorry, correction, and some about $4.6 billion given to people that didn't really need it. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This beautiful December 6, 2022. I'm your host, Krusty Canuck. And if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this stuff all over your social media platform, and let us independent podcasters get ahead with the algorithm. You know how it goes. Anyway, like I said, billions wasted. So there was news today, this morning. I got up, had a coffee with my wife before she went to work, and we were watching it in the news, and we were just kind of flabbergasted. Oh my, like really. But then again, it wasn't really a big surprise either, though, ladies and gentlemen, because we knew when this pandemic hit, there was going to have to be some government help one way or the other. But I'm going to paraphrase everything that I've seen today, and I'm just basically going to tell it like it is. It was a con from the get-go, okay? There was a con in regards to people closing their businesses, not being able to move around. There were fines left and right. How many pastors in Alberta and Ontario and New Brunswick were locked up because they held religious services? How many people were thrown off hockey rinks or kicked out of arenas over, the whole mask issue? How many people were not allowed to see their loved ones or hang out with their loved ones because of safety? Okay. And how many of these bureaucrats and administrators and know-it-alls were out and about traveling around at their own leisure? So it's really not a surprise that the Auditor General come to that conclusion that billions were wasted. We know that. Okay. In a moment here, I'm going to put up a video up here, probably live in Parliament, discussing it with, of course, the opposition, with the Liberals and Conservatives back and forth, banter. You know how it goes. And I want you, my wonderful audience out there, to decide for yourselves which it is. Now, personally, I think it was a con to begin with. Okay. The moment, anytime a government steps in and says, here, we'll give you money for this, here, we'll give you money for that, it's got to be paid back somehow, regardless. Okay. Unless you're awarded said monies, or, you're given said monies because of pain and suffering, like Mr. Omer Kadir, $10.5 million because of the pain and suffering he endured in Gitmo for being a little fucking terrorist, right? And individuals that have been sued or wrongfully accused of whatever, that I can understand, okay? And I personally know individuals that took the CERB and CEBA to look after their businesses and to look after their well-being during the lockdowns, okay? Now, I'm not saying anyone who needs help should not get it. Don't get me wrong. I believe in welfare to a point where if you needed a hand to get yourself up out of trouble, to get yourself focused on something, and to go out in the world and do better for yourself, I can understand certain government programs that will help you do that, okay? I can understand those kind of programs. But we've also, one way or the other, actually heard people brag about not going back to work once their businesses were opened because they've got these handouts, they got these payments, they're taking home all this tax-free, apparently, cash. Why should I go to work when I'm making this much money? Hey, why not? So one could sit and decide and think for a second, was this an experiment maybe? Because every time I turn around on my Facebook page, I'm seeing all these ads for UBI, Universal Basic Income. Here, Universal Basic Income. Here's an extra $100, extra $200, $300 or $400 or $500, extra a month. You don't have to do anything for it. There you go. It's free money, like people like to say. Free money. There's nothing free about it. And in order for me to make $220, I have to work 10 hours or more. Okay? In order for me to make that much money in a week, I have to work 5 days straight. Right? That's after I take off the taxes and everything, which is roughly a third of what I earn. Not to mention a third of my pension comes off in taxes too. So I pay a lot in taxes off my pay. And when someone's bragging about the free money they get all the time, you kind of sit there and go, okay, buddy, what is it that you want to do? Obviously, you don't want to do anything. Now, once again, let me reiterate, ladies and gentlemen, I am not condemning anybody who needed that service during those 2 years. I'm not condemning anybody at all, especially young families, young men and women that went without work, that lost their job, individuals that were punted because of certain issues, right? But I don't feel bad for the individuals that might have to give it back. And as sure as I don't feel bad for the individuals that didn't need it, but took the handout anyway, right? Basically taking advantage of the situation, basically biting the hand that feeds.
Stay updated and follow Krusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at krustycanuck.ca.
And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the show, you like to hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this all over your social media platforms. You can find my podcast on Spotify, Amazon Player FM, Podbean, on YouTube, on Rumble. I have to load some more on Rumble anyway, but that's where you can find me. I also update this page on YouTube and on Facebook, respectively. So if you like what you see, please click like, subscribe, and comment. And if you're on YouTube, please click that little bell for notifications to let you know that I got new content on its way, or let you know what I'm doing, all that good stuff. And if you want to reach out to me, you can find all the other information there in the description too, where you can donate and all that good stuff. And if you want to write me a letter or send me some stuff, my mailing address is in the description as well too there, ladies and gentlemen. 'Tis the season, right? Hint, 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 hint. Just kidding. Anyhow, carrying on again with the whole billions wasted for your safety or someone's pocket. Now, that's the thing. It went to a lot of people's pockets, okay? I'll say again, I'm not judging anybody who needed it. My wife and I, we actually sat and talked about, do we need this? Do we need the help? Do we, thankfully we didn't, right? But I've also had harassment from CRA in regards to my filing and how come I didn't file this and file that. And I more or less told him, so I'm not filing because Justin likes to spend our money, which he did. He did. He spent all of our money on things, not to mention what's going on in Ukraine and so-called roads for other nations and other little perks and privileges that he's given his buddies in Ottawa, right? So like I said, I'm going to cue up this video and you'll see a good banter back and forth in regards to what Pierre Poilievre says and what the ministers have said in retort to in regards of all this money going away too. Now, when I sat and I watched that this morning on CTV, I was kind of surprised, but then I wasn't surprised, right? $4.6 billion gone to people that didn't deserve it, that didn't need it, basically. Okay. And there's the excuses back and forth of who needed it, who didn't need it. Oh, we didn't vet properly, or we didn't vet this, or check this out. And well, you should have checked it out, because I don't buy that shit. Because if you can nail 280 people or more and close their bank accounts in regards to the Freedom Convoy, then I'm pretty sure you can find the name and the addresses of the people that you paid. Right? I'm pretty sure you can do that. Maybe it's I'm just taking a wild guess here, but I'm pretty sure if you can nail that many people and freeze their bank accounts, I'm pretty sure you can find the individuals that received said payments that didn't need it and politely ask them to give it back. There. Anyway, I'll keep this video here for you for Poilievre here. Mr. Poilievre discussing the whole thing in regards to the billions that were lost. Pay attention.
Having wasted massive sums over the last several years. According to the Auditor General, there is $4 billion of known waste, another $27 billion of suspected waste. There is $60 million of spending that's under criminal investigation. There were 190,000 people who quit their jobs and therefore were not eligible to receive the CERB benefit, but did anyway. They even sent the CERB to 1,500 prisoners, Mr. Speaker. Why did the government waste so much and make Canadians pay the price?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General found very clearly that CERB and our individual benefits achieve their intended goals of getting money to Canadians quickly, of allowing Canadians to stay home safely, and avoiding severe social and economic consequences. We as a parliament approved an attestation-based approach. We knew from the beginning there would be post-payment verification. We are working methodically through that, Mr. Speaker, and I can assure all Canadians that we are on top of this.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, we already knew that the government paid billions of dollars in wage subsidies to profitable corporations that were able to pay out dividends to their wealthy executives. Now we know they also paid $15 billion to companies that did not have a significant revenue drop. And so they were able to pocket the cash at the expense of the Canadian people. Now, this is the same government that gave money to Loblaws, to other wealthy corporations, always at the expense of the working class. Why do they always take from the have-nots and give to the have-yachts? Is now exposed for having.
Yeah, interesting, eh? Interesting how that worked out, especially for the individuals at Loblaws and Bombardier and Irving alike. Loblaws received, I think, 4 years ago, $12 million or $15 million for their so-called energy-efficient freezers that didn't put nasty freon in the atmosphere. And Irving had their loans forgiven, as well as Bombardier being bailed out. It seems like the company is always being bailed out by every government every 10 or 15 years because they just can't keep their shit together. And it was in the news, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have to put any facts or figures up there. It's in the news in regards to how many corporate bigwigs got dividends and payouts. I think the Bank of Canada received, their employees received a few extra bonuses too, as the inflation was going up, right? So we know it's a con, it's a game. No one gives a shit, right? Just come next fiscal year, we'll have to return more files, hand more paperwork in. Yes, we have to prove and validate that you're not making too much money. Because if you're making too much money, you got to pay the national debt. Because then elected officials, of course, can just give it away to whatever whoever the fuck they want. It doesn't matter, right? That's the joy of living in this democracy. Well, I, for one, am not going to do it. Why? Well, because you take enough off my pay every 2 weeks and every month when I get my pension and my paychecks. You take quite a bit. And I've mentioned before in this show, ladies and gentlemen, it's roughly around $1,400 to $1,600 and more a month that goes off in taxes. Okay. Now that opposition minister there, the lady with the glasses, I'll put another video up here. I forget her name off the top of my head, but I remember seeing her on CTV Question Period. And she basically bragged about how not letting people have EI who lost their jobs in regards to said jibby jab. So she more or less said, no EI for you if you don't get this. And yet these are the same politicians that talked about democracy and fairness and equality and equity and inclusivity and being inclusive and being fair. How fair were they? So the more and more we dig into this story, the more and more the billions are being wasted. How fair were they really? Was it to you and me or some other interest?
Stay updated and follow Krusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at krustycanuck.ca.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, looking here to see, please click like and subscribe and share this content all over your social media platforms. Help a guy like me out, a little independent podcaster. Get out there and tell the world. Now, a little update there, too. Miss Rachel Gilmore, the reporter from Global TV, who was at the Carleton University conference there with other female journalists and a handful of male journalists talking in regards to online hate and everything. I don't have the clip here from Twitter, but if you are following her on Twitter, she basically put a video up displaying how scared she is and how she's tired of all the hatred. And because she's a woman and she's a female and she's a journalist and all this online hate and misogyny I'm going to reiterate what I said in yesterday's episode too, ladies and gentlemen. The majority of Canadians that I know don't really care if you're male or female. They want to know the truth. They want to know the facts. They don't care about who you sleep with. They don't care about what you put in your mouth or in your nostrils, or what kind of makeup you wear, or what kind of leather gear you wear, or whatever you do. They don't care if you play hockey or mud wrestle. What they care about is that when you read a story, or they're presented a story or a news item, that you, as the journalist and the writer and the composer and the creator, make a sound effort to be legitimate. Okay? I, for one, I'm getting really, really tired of hearing about this victimhood. Oh, it's because we're women. Oh, it's because we're this or because we're that. No. It's because you're displaying incompetence every time you hand something in. You're displaying a false narrative. You're creating a false narrative. And then you have to turn around and discuss the whole freedom of the press. Well, guess what? We have a government in this country that wants to annihilate the freedom of the press with Bill C-11. So while you're on TikTok and Twitter and other social feeds screaming about your pain and your victimhood, you're basically being subsidized by a government that wants to stifle people like me, my neighbors, my friends, ex-soldiers, ex-cops, and people like you. Do you understand that concept? There's a bigger picture here going on rather than you having to read some mean tweets or death threats. Now, I don't agree with death threats, but I'll tell you, the first couple of years when I started this show, this podcast, building it to where it is now with the time and resources I had some nasty emails. I had some threats. Now, mind you, it didn't warrant me calling the police and saying, oh, Bowie, this guy hurt my feelings. I sucked it up. And I persevered. I stuck with my guns to what I believed in. I held the higher ground. I'm still here talking to a camera, talking to you wonderful people out there, speaking to a microphone with my little soundboard and little graphics here, something I built. I own this shit. I own what I say. My opinions are my own. If you agree, great. If not, that's fine too. That's why we say, if you like and hear what you see, click like and subscribe and give us a comment. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, you can comment all the same. Say what you want. I'm not going to cry to the police and the popo because someone hurt my feelings. I'm going to stand my ground as an adult and speak my mind. And if you want to listen to me, you can. If you don't want to listen to me, you don't have to. You can mute on things. You can turn the volume down. You can click it to another page. Were we not taught this as children? Right? We were not taught how to deal with this stuff as children? No, of course not. You are a seasoned professional and you're hot, so you deserve something. Or you're a seasoned professional and you represent this group, or you represent that group, or you represent this ideology or that ideology. Here's an ideology that you should represent: maturity, integrity, and professionalism. And you take the comments, and then you give some comments. Then you show some professional decorum. Why you're doing that? Because you're in the public eye. You're in the spotlight. You're not a victim, Gilmore. And everyone associated with Ms. Gilmore, you're not victims either. You're just being a bunch of fucking sucks.
Stay updated and follow Krusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at krustycanuck.ca.
Anyway, carrying on again with the whole billions being wasted. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Billions wasted for your safety or someone's pocket. It would be safe to assume, safe to assume that the money just went missing because of, well, the pandemic. It went missing because of roads. It went missing because of Ukraine. All those bad Russians out there causing the price of oil to go skyrocketing through the roof. No, it's because of idiocy and something that's pre-planned too. Like I said earlier in the show, we're seeing a lot of UBI adverts come and go. We're seeing a lot of UBI stuff come and go here. Oh, UBI works. It works. It works. Yeah, it works, but who's going to pay for it? Well, you and me. Really? Every time we file, every time we pay a few extra taxes, a couple dollars taken off here, a few more dollars taken off there, a little more incentive taken here and rammed up our chuffs, right? So once again, who's going to pay for UBI? You and me. Yeah, that's where it's going to be. But I'm not paying a damn cent, and neither should you, ladies and gentlemen. Really, neither should you. Why should you pay for more? It's been hard enough in this country, especially out here in the West, for individuals to get along and get ahead, okay? And considering it's the Christmas season, people want to have a good Christmas. People want to have a good holiday and sit with family and friends, have a good meal, have a few drinks and some laughs, and see some relatives they haven't seen in a very, very long time. Yours truly, ladies and gentlemen, I have family in Ontario. The last time I sat with my family in Ontario was in 2016 when my mother passed away. That was a tough month. That was a lot of revelations and a lot of pain, a lot of memories, and a lot of smiles too. So that's the last time I got to see my immediate family, was in 2016. I get to see them via here when I do my Zoom meetings or certain Facebook chats, but I don't get to sit in the house of my sisters, have a drink, or sit with my brother-in-law and have a pint and watch some hockey. It's kind of a tradition to sit have a few beers and watch the World Juniors. It's just a Canadian tradition, but I don't have that. But I'm thankful that I have a great wife, and I'm thankful that I have some great friends here that I can sit and reminisce with. I'm a lucky son of a bitch to have her. I really am. I put up a lot of garbage, and she puts up a lot of garbage, but we're still together, and that must mean something. And I'm very, very thankful for that, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm thankful that I still live in a country where I can speak my mind via this microphone and via your wonderful presence here on the internet world, in cyberland, wherever it may be, whether you're working, whether you're at home. I'm very, very thankful that I have an audience like you out there that's backing me up. But I need some more backup. So please click like, subscribe, share this content all around. And if you want to donate, please consider donating. Every little bit helps too. You don't have to give me hundreds of thousands of dollars. That would be nice in a perfect world, but I'm not expecting you to. Give what you can. And if you don't want to give to me, then give to a local charity if you can there too. Kind of pay things for it. Anyway, carrying on again with more of the whole billions wasted for your safety or someone's pocket. And we both know too, it's got to be someone's pocket. You don't just misplace $4.6 billion or $15.5 million or $15 billion or $60 million that were stolen, based on Mr. Poilievre's statement there too. Okay. But we're going to have to be a little more finite and be intricate and look at every detail when it comes to this spending. Okay. All this money to give away, all this money to invest. And there was also a rumbling too that something like 13 million vaccines went missing too. Somehow. 13 million vaccines went missing. Interesting. Were they forgotten? Were they given away? Did someone steal them, perhaps? Who knows? But it just goes to prove that there's so much irresponsibility and unaccountability in our government today. Unaccountable, finger wagging, finger pointing. I'm guilty of it too. But I call into question the buffoonery and the idiocy of these people. They call themselves leaders, right? I call in the buffoonery and the arrogance where they feel they don't have to explain or justify what they're doing. And yet a guy like me or a person like you or the lady down the road or the guy up here, they have to justify why they said something against this or why they don't agree with that, right? The whole do as we say, not as we do mantra is still alive and well, ladies and gentlemen. But we're adults. We don't have to follow that routine anymore. We're not little 8-year-old kids who have to listen to our math teachers and put up with that BS. We're full functioning adults that go to work, pay our bills, and we want our liberty, and liberty must be obtained. Period. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm getting a little too emotional, but we've seen the con. We've seen the BS. We've seen the billions gone missing. So what else is coming? Who knows? But the best thing I can say to you is right now, ladies and gentlemen, is that do what we can to help each other out in these trying times. Like I said, it's a Christmas season. Enjoy ourselves, enjoy our lives. Do what we can, work a little bit harder, give a few extra little bucks to the food bank or a few extra canned goods, whatever you can do to help your neighbors out, your friends out, shove a little bit of snow, lay some salt or lay some sand down, some of the nasty pathways so someone doesn't hurt themselves, right? And just stand our ground. Just stand our ground for what's right and what's real and what's decent. And it doesn't matter if you're religious, doesn't matter if you're lesbian, gay, bi, tri, whatever, two-spirit. Doesn't matter if you're straight, doesn't matter if you're white, doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if you're brown. It doesn't matter. What matters is you try to be a good person and try to be good to people to the best of your fucking ability. That's all. And filter out the shit. Don't take their nose for an answer, right? And hold them to account, too. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Krusty Canuck this beautiful 6th of December, 2022. I wish nothing but good things for you all. And like I always say, humanity merit wins the day. I'll see you in 10 days. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Krusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Krusty Canuck podcast.